and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the first of hopefully many wedding related videos on my channel. As you guys know, I did get engaged back in March and I promised a lot of you guys that I would show you guys all the stuff that we're doing and talk about the planning, and so that is what today's video is going to be about. So today I'm going to tell you guys the 5 things that surprised me the most when I started wedding planning. First of all, we're gonna have a huge disclaimer here that obviously this is the first and hopefully only wedding of mine that I'm going to plan. So I went into this completely just blind. Like, I had no idea what this all entailed. You guys know I've been in a wedding before, my friend's wedding last year, but this side of the planning was not something that I obviously was involved in. So I didn't know a lot of what I'm about to tell you, and I just wanted to share with you some stuff that I found out in case you're planning a wedding or like you'll be planning one in the future. And another disclaimer is that I live in New England in the United States, and so if you're watching this from a different part of the country or a different part of the world, just be aware that what I'm telling you is possibly different where you're located. Money-wise, situation-wise, I've learned that this is very dependent on where you live in the world or in the United States. So take everything with a grain of salt. Just be aware that it might not exactly apply to you, but I thought I would share some surprising stuff. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I learned when I started wedding planning was how quickly vendors book out in advance. When we got engaged in mid-March, and I originally had said that we should wait a couple of months before starting wedding planning, and I knew that I wanted to get married in 2020. I don't know, I have this weird thing with even numbers, and I just wanted to get married on an even year. That sounds really weird, but that's just how I felt, and I really liked the idea of 2020. I thought it was a cool year. And so that was what we set our sights on, was at first June 2020. And then I started to look into vendors, because when we got home I was really excited, and I wasn't planning on booking anybody yet. I just wanted to see what was out there, and I quickly realized that venues and caterers and photographers were already booking well into 2020, and some even had 2021 that they were booking. So when I saw that, I freaked out and was like, okay, we actually need to do this right now. And some vendors will use that as a tactic to get you to book quicker. I know that they'll say, oh, hey, I'm booking into 2020 already, and it's meant to kind of make you nervous and make you feel like you need to commit. But for me, I just want to get it all done and figured out. So I decided we were going to start wedding planning right away. We started looking at venues right away. And our venue actually only books 12 weddings a year. And when we met with our venue owner, she told us she had already booked 5 out of the 12 dates. So there's only 7 left. And this was for next year, not even 2019. This was for 2020. So definitely just be aware that if you have a specific vision in mind, I would 100% start as early as possible with your planning and give yourself tons of time, so that you can A, get the vendors you want, and B, you can have enough time to pay everything off. Which is going to lead into my second shocking thing, was prices of venues and what they include and don't include. And what I quickly found out was that if you go on a site like Wedding Wire or The Knot, or a site that compiles a lot of different venues together for you to browse through, the price that you're gonna see listed on Wedding Wire is not always accurate. And so for a lot of venues, they would have a price listed, and I would think, oh, that's pretty reasonable. And then I would go on their site and I would send out an inquiry, and I would get back quotes that were a lot higher than what I was anticipating. And that's because a lot of venues don't include anything in the base cost. So for instance, I'll throw out a random number. So say a venue is listed at $4,000. A lot of times that number, you'll find out, is maybe just for your wedding day, not for decorating time, not for the chairs and the tables and the different things that you might need that day. Sometimes the bridal suite is separate. Sometimes if you want to have your ceremony there, the fee is separate from the base price. So you're basically paying, say, $4,000 for a building, and that's it. And it comes empty, and you're responsible for paying to have it decorated and to bring in outside vendors. And there are venues, like the one that we chose, that do include a lot, and it's definitely worth researching and finding a venue that will include some stuff that it might be really helpful. For instance, our venue has running bathrooms, like full flushing toilets and things like that, so that we don't have to bring in like a porta potty or one of those like mobile bathrooms. Like that would be an extra expense, but it's included in our venue. Our venue also includes some of the decor. We get some lighting. She includes chairs. She includes the dining tables actually come with the venue. And we have basically like full reign of the entire property for 2 days. So my venue was actually a really, really good deal, but just be aware that not all venues are like that, and it's definitely worth doing some extensive research, getting quotes, and asking specific questions of what is included and what is like a hidden fee, because they're not always going to maybe tell you until it's too late, oh yeah, like that's not included. So that was really shocking to me, what some of these venues will charge just for a building. My third thing that shocked me was the price of flowers. And you guys might think, oh, like you're getting married next year, why are you already looking at flowers? Well, I wanted to make a budget, and I made a spreadsheet of what I thought we would spend so that we were aware of what we should be setting aside for money. We are paying for our wedding almost entirely on our own, so it was really important to have a budget and to figure out what we could afford and what we couldn't afford. So one of the things that I obviously looked up was flowers, and I went on to a Facebook group for soon-to-be brides, and a lot of people were posting about their flowers and the quotes that they got for their flowers. And I was falling over at seeing some of the quotes that these people were getting. The quotes were astronomical for real flowers that were literally going to wilt and die within probably a week of your wedding. My friend, she had real flowers at her wedding, and her bouquets, one of the bridesmaids like threw it during the reception. They did like a football like entrance thing, and her bouquet just like fell apart on impact of like landing on the floor. And to know now what they paid for that one bouquet, one bridesmaid bouquet, I just, oh, like that just makes me sick to think about it. And so something I found out was that a lot of people use silk flowers, and I didn't know this. This wasn't, I was not aware, but apparently there are Etsy shops and Amazon shops that you can actually order all of your flowers to be made in silk, and they come in and like you just store them until your wedding. You can have them customized. Some people even go to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's and they buy the fake flowers there and they make their bouquets. And I used to think like, oh, you know, you'd be able to tell, but to be completely honest with you, a lot of times in photos you actually can't tell. And the good thing is that you know the bouquets aren't gonna wilt, they're not gonna die, and you can keep them afterward. So I thought that was really cool, and the price of flowers to me is just like insane. I saw quotes for like one bride's bouquet, like $350 for greenery. Crazy, crazy. I also saw that some people buy in bulk on like Costco and things, and they assemble bouquets, but you have to do that like a week before your wedding. And for me, I'm too anxious of a person to order my flowers that close to my wedding. So I don't think I would do that. I think I would either rely on a florist or rely on silk flowers. So, but that's definitely an option as well. That's something people do. But I couldn't get over how expensive floral arrangements are. I just never had a reason to look into it before, and now that I have, I'm shocked. So if you guys are ever interested in what they cost, like just Google it and you'll see how astronomical they can be in price depending on what you want. And I think that they definitely take advantage of the wedding industry with flowers because they know what's trendy, what's gonna look good, and they can charge big bucks for them. Up next has to do with catering. And something that we were kind of told beforehand was keep your wedding small because it will save you a lot of money when stuff relies on head count like catering. A lot of people will do a plated dinner and it's per plate that you're paying, so the less people you have, the cheaper it's going to be in theory. So we are having a wedding of roughly 75 people. Actually, almost exactly 75 are being invited. And it's really family and close friends, and that's pretty much it. So we thought, okay, we're doing something good. We're keeping our wedding really small, and that will cut down on the cost of catering. I forgot to mention here that 75 is small for an American wedding. It's considered an intimate size, where the normal size for an American wedding is roughly 150 plus. And obviously, like I said in the beginning, this is going to vary depending on where you live and where you are in the world, like how big your family is, how many friends you want to invite. And so obviously you can go much smaller, but this was just the number we came up with based on our family members, making sure everyone important was invited and our very closest friends were invited. So yeah, so 75 for us is on the smaller side. But something I found out is that there is a loophole there that you can run into with catering that I did not know could happen, and I'm really upset and disappointed by. But basically, I found out that caterers can sometimes instill a minimum charge if you're having a wedding on a Saturday in peak season, or just a wedding in general. They will have a minimum charge that you have to hit, regardless of how many people there are. So for instance, one of the caterers we looked at, for the food that we were looking at with 75 people, it was, I think, roughly $1,400 plus the gratuity and things tacked on, but it was not going to really exceed, I don't even think, close to $3,000 total. And I thought that that was really reasonable for what we're looking for. Then I saw that they have a minimum charge of $7,500. So that is essentially $100 per person, plus the gratuity tacked on, plus the service fee tacked on, which are like 18 and I think 10%, and then there's like 7% sales tax. It ended up being over 10 grand for 75 people. And I will tell you that we are having brick oven pizza at our wedding because we're really laid back and that's what we want. And that's what they wanted to charge us for pizza. That was a bit excessive, and honestly, I thought we were doing good keeping our numbers low. I was like, oh, this is gonna save us so much money. But it really doesn't. With some caterers, it really doesn't matter. They will say, nope, this is the minimum. You have to spend at least this much, and it will be astronomically more than if you just got the base food and the service charge and that was it. So it's a little bit discouraging, but we luckily have found a caterer that doesn't do that, and they're really, really reasonable, and we're really excited about that. So there are definitely caterers that don't do that. So don't think that everybody does that, but I have found out that that was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing until now. So watch out and carefully read every quote that gets sent over, because sometimes it's kind of hidden in there. Like a couple of them I didn't notice until I got to the end of the quote that was the minimum or whatever. And so just be careful and read everything thoroughly. So my fifth and last thing that shocked me so much about planning a wedding has to do with vendors in general. Basically, if you inquire about a vendor, be prepared to be completely harassed by them. Whether you give them a phone number or your email, just be prepared for them to be trying to contact you constantly. Even though the wedding industry is so big, they still are going after your business as much as possible. And I'm very surprised by this, because a lot of them, I had a couple that literally sent me contracts when I showed a little bit of interest. They sent over contracts and were like, yeah, we just need 50% right now, and we'll lock you in. And they really make you feel like you need to do everything right that second. And I've learned to kind of just pick and choose who I respond to. If I feel like a vendor is really, really pushy, I actually tend to get kind of push away from them, because I just don't want to deal with pushy people. I don't want to deal with demanding people. So just be aware that the second you start inquiring about vendors for your wedding, you're going to get a slew of emails in. Something I did was I made a wedding folder in my email, and I've just been throwing them all in there. Makes it very easy to go back and then pick and choose who I want to like inquire about or get a quote from. So some of them are really, really helpful, and some of them are like literally just looking to lock you in and demanding money like upfront. So yeah, that was a little bit shocking. I would have thought because the wedding industry is so popular, like you're going to get people getting married every single year. I would have thought they'd be a little less pushy, but no, they attack like vultures. They want your business, and I get it, it's their business, but just be aware it can be really overwhelming from your perspective when you're getting all these emails. So those are the 5 things that I have been surprised by so far, and I'm sure there will be many more things. So if you guys want a follow-up video down the road of another group of things that I've been surprised by, please let me know down in the comments. And also, I would love in the comments if you are married, please leave a comment below of your best wedding planning advice. And I will say eloping isn't really an option for us at this point because we have already booked our venue, but I totally get the eloping thing, and a lot of people have said to me, just elope. So if you want to leave that advice, you can, but unfortunately we already have a venue and we're not eloping. But anything else you can think of that was super helpful for you when you were planning your wedding, leave it down below. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Upcoming, we have a very special video that we're going to be doing, a very special vlog, probably within, let's see, it'll be within the next couple of weeks. If you follow me on Instagram, you might know kind of what's going on, but basically our family, we are doing something really exciting in 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. So that is it for today's video. If you guys liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you liked my content, and click the little bell to know when I upload. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in my next video.